Okay, so today I want to talk to you about 10 things you can stop doing as a young lady. And one of the first things I believe that you should stop doing as a young lady is being loud in public. You shouldn't be screaming, yelling, or laughing out loud in public. You shouldn't be using obscene language or being vulgar or using masculine gestures in public. You shouldn't be talking extremely loud on the phone, having loud conversations on the phone, being angry on the phone, maybe in the streets or in public transport. Being angry on the phone and being loud in public is really rude, right? You should not be cursing in maybe stores or public areas where you need to line up or wait for something. You should not be complaining that you need to wait and why the line is so long and cursing the workers and so on. This would really make you, why is it wrong? It will really make you look impolite, unethical, rude, inconsiderate, and you would be disturbing the peace. Right? So another thing, the second thing I believe you should stop doing is gossiping, spreading rumors, and talking behind someone's back. Gossiping wastes your time. Gossiping ruins other people's reputation. You look like a bad person, you look shady, you look fake, and you look like you cannot be trusted. People get hurt when they hear what you were saying about them, especially if they probably already have done something that made them feel embarrassed, and then hearing you talk about it even causes more emotional or mental distress. Gossiping creates a negative energy, especially when there's a group talking bad about someone. It just creates a negative atmosphere. Gossiping also damages relationships, whether it's family, friends, or co-workers. That trust you have with your friend, if you talk bad behind your friend back, that friendship would be destroyed and the trust would be lost. Instead, what you could do is gossip to one person that you trust. And you can engage in more meaningful conversations with the people around you and be positive in your speech. The third thing that I believe that you should stop doing is interrupting others in a conversation and sharing too much. The other person could feel belittled and inferior to you. You appear rude, you appear annoying and uncontrolled, like you can't wait until the other person is finished talking about their story or sharing their opinion. You appear also that you appear egotistical. You appear that your story or what your opinion or what you need to say is like more valuable or more worthy than theirs. You can be perceived as self-absorbed, egotistical, and that you're just thoughtless. Instead, you should listen to understand what the person is saying and don't listen to try to respond or formulating what you're going to say back to them. So notice when you're interrupting and you could stop yourself. Maintain eye contact, reflect on what the person is saying. Don't try to make assumptions or jump to conclusions to figure out or you think you know the end of the story or the scenario. Make it about them. When you're talking to them, you make it about them, and you could also hold off your questions for the end, right? Another thing that I believe that you should stop doing, the fourth thing, is taking things personally or taking everything personally. Well, how to know if you're taking things personally? Well, you are really sensitive to what people think of you. You often feel really guilty. Even if you have no control over the situation, you feel like everything is your fault. You don't take criticism well. You always feel like you need to defend. You get emotional really quickly and maybe really angry even before you think about if the person is saying anything like of any merit. You always feel attacked, especially when somebody does not agree with you, you feel attacked. You always feel guarded. You always feel like you need to defend your beliefs. You need to defend your opinions. You constantly over explain your actions. You need to explain your intentions always. You struggle to let things go. You always judge people negatively. You always feel offended, and you always feel like you need to take a stance and make everybody wrong. That is how to know if you're taking things personally. No. How to stop taking things personally? First, you should, well, not first, but you could question your interpretation about what people are saying. Sometimes you might think that this person is bad-minded, this person doesn't like me, this person wants bad for me, and maybe it's not the case, right? So you should try to be more open-minded and stop worrying about what people think of you. And sometimes there's a spotlight effect where there's this illusion that you think that everybody could see your weaknesses, everybody could see what you're not good at, and most of the time that is not the case, right? So to stop things personal, you need to be confident, you need to know your strengths, and you need to know your own weaknesses. So if there's any type of criticism, whether it's constructive or not, you already know your strengths and your weaknesses. So you would not let what people say dictate how you feel. Remember that everybody has their own opinion, they have their own perspective, they have their own upbringing, and people have developed their own beliefs, their own opinions, their own values, and that is how everybody have a different values, opinion, and so on. So you don't need to take everything personally. So stop being so vigilant about what other people are doing and their behavior, because you are creating and you will create unnecessary drama and conflict in your life. The fifth thing that you should stop doing as a young lady is being on social media all day. Being on social media for long hours creates a lot of distraction. You will lack focus and concentration on what you're doing, especially if you need to do something significant, important, or meet a deadline. When you're on social media, you're constantly seeing the highlights of other people's life. Then you would feel inadequate unconsciously about your life. You constantly would compare your life to others. You compare your looks, you compare your family, you compare your friends, you compare your partner, you compare your social life. Whatever it is, you start comparing and feeling like your life is inadequate and it's not good enough. And on social media, you could get anxious, and you could there's this feeling of, it's called FOMO, fear of missing out. You feel like people are doing these many things without you, like so much events are taking place without you. So when you be on social media for a long time, you start to get anxious and you start to believe that so many things are happening without you. Another reason why you shouldn't be on social media for long hours or all day, because it's a hotspot for rumors, it's a hotspot for cyberbullying and lies. When you're on social media for a long time, you also would tend to overshare. You might post intimate videos, you might post intimate photos about your family, about your friendship, you might post personal drama, you might vent your emotions and frustrations and stress on social media. You might post private videos, private photos. You might post embarrassing videos about yourself, about friends. You might be posting what you're doing every 10 minutes. You might be posting your meals constantly, what you ate for breakfast, what you ate for lunch, what you ate for dinner. And what I'm really saying is that you shouldn't, when you're on social media for a long time, you tend to overshare. And you shouldn't be posting for attention, you shouldn't be posting for likes, you shouldn't be posting to get comments or to feel good or to feel validated. And I'm not saying not to post on social media. I'm just saying, if you're posting for attention, to feel good about yourself, you shouldn't be on social media for a long time, right? And why we would overshare sometimes is because social media encourage you to share. If you notice, when you open an app, it's like update your status, update your photo, update profile, add a story, add reel, go live by one click of a button, right? So it actually encourages you to share. Why you overshare? Because you feel anxious, fear of missing out, this lingering feeling that people are doing things without you, that life is passing you by. So then when you keep seeing other people's vacation, you keep seeing what party they went to, what event they went to, couples photo, family photo, children photos, then you start to feel anxious, and then you feel like, okay, I need to post, because you actually feel insecure about your own life and you want to post and one up your friend and give highlights of your life to show that you're not boring and that you're interested, right? That's why you may overshare. So don't go to social media to let out frustration. Don't go to social media to get attention, right? To get likes, comments, followers. Well, if you have a business on social media, obviously you want your followers to go up and you will be posting regularly because you have a business. But if you're posting to vent emotions for attention, you should stop doing this. Why you need to stop? Constantly seeing highlights of other people's life actually could cause anxiety, cause depression. You could feel isolated. It cause your self-esteem to like break down. You start to get jealous. You start to get envious. You create conflict. You leave nasty comments. Then this person comment back, and then there's a fight on social media. You might hurt your own reputation by oversharing, right? If you vent on social media, maybe there was really a situation in your life that was really hurtful or really embarrassing. You feel like you need to go on social media and over explain what happened, and there are people who don't know you is going to see your story, and that is how your reputation is ruined, because it's the first time they're seeing you, they're listening to you, and you're venting all your like maybe family matters and conflict on social media. So that would hurt your reputation. So things to remember is to don't post when you're angry, don't go live when you're angry, and social media is not real life. There's nobody that is happy all the time with highlights, right? You don't have to follow the trend on social media, right? The sixth thing I believe you should stop doing is eating in the streets, chewing loudly, walking and eating, talking and eating and then drinking at the same time and talking. Why we need to stop this? Because it's look rude, it's impolite, it's actually really irritating and annoying when somebody eats loud. It's unmannerly. So you should slow down when you're eating. Focus on eating only. Sometimes we eat and we have our phone, we're scrolling, and then we unconsciously eat loud, right? What to do is to eat slowly, focus on eating only, right? Don't drink and eat, and so on. So the next thing is wearing revealing clothing. Now, when revealing clothing that is too short, clothing that is too tight, actually increase the chances of people looking at you in a degrading way, especially men. It increases the chance of sexual harassment, both verbal and sexual, right? Physical. So, and also strangers would judge you. They don't know you, but they judge you because of how you dress, and then they believe that they have the right to share their opinion in a derogative way. People will lose respect for you, and it's really embarrassing, especially when children are around or elderly persons are around. The eighth thing that I believe you should stop doing is neglecting how you look and neglecting yourself and not taking good care of yourself. Physically, you might have poor hygiene, you might have messy hair, your skin might be dry, your hands might be rough. Mine are rough right now, but we need to try to do our best to take care of ourselves, to exercise, to dress properly, to dress to fit our size, and to have pride in how we look. We should not be, as women, missing appointments, especially if you have a serious medical condition. You need to go and check We also need to take care of our nutrition. We need to have a good diet. So you shouldn't be having poor diet. You should not be dehydrating or snacking on unhealthy food constantly. We also need to take care of ourselves financially. You need to be saving, you need to be investing, you need to be on a budget sometimes. You don't need to be wasting your money on trends, on vacations, trying to fit in, or just overspending or spending money that you don't have just to fit in, right? And the ninth thing is having hot girl summer, whole phases, and the appointments. Well, things like saying you're living your best life and you're gaining experience and you're exploring. Everybody has their own definition of hot girl summer or living their best life or saying they're exploring and gaining experience. But for the purpose of this video, what I'm talking about is having one night stands, partying and drinking constantly, saying that you're living your best life and saying that you're exploring and gaining experience while having multiple sex partners, while having sex as a young age, while having multiple abortions, having children when you're not ready, drinking too much alcohol, smoking and drinking, passing out until you don't know what is happening. That is very dangerous, and you should not be having the appointments and whole phases, right? And why you shouldn't be having hot girl summer, whole phase, and the appointment is because it allows men to disrespect you, to use you, to devalue you, and to take you for granted. And while you're exploring, say you're gaining experience, which is nothing wrong with exploring and gaining experience, but you need to do this with discretion and with good judgment, right? So while you're doing this, if you're doing this unconsciously and just say you're having fun exploring, having whole phase, which you don't need to have, and the appointments and so on, hot girl summer and so on, it's just like during that time what you could be creating situationships. You start creating friends with benefits, and we know if you're a woman, you're female, you know you always more than likely would have the bad end of the stick with that. You will be like in and out of relationships, being official and then you're not official because you're exploring, trying to gain experience or whatever it is. So you also expose yourself to get used for money, to get used for sex, to get used to pay bills. Some men today are like looking for women to like take care of them, and you would not want to put yourself in that position. So the last thing that I believe that you should stop doing is believing and living up to the lyrics of music, especially in rap music, in dancehall music, in hip hop, right? Some people act like the artists, you live like them, you follow everything they're saying in the lyrics. And I'm not saying to not listen to music, not saying to stop listening hip hop, rap, dancehall or whatever. I'm just saying you don't need to follow everything that you hear in the music, right? If you follow everything that you hear in the music, you act like them and you want to live like them and you believe everything they're saying, you could start to involve yourself in promiscuous activity. You start taking drugs, you start drinking alcohol excessively, and you just involve yourself in violence, crime, right? So those are 10 things I believe you should stop doing as a young lady. So if you learn anything from this video or anything maybe catch your attention, you could hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.